All right, guys, what's going down, man? This is your boy, DJ Just J with Just Dimes ENT, and I am your humble host of the Soto You Dig. Guys, what's going down? Today is a beautiful day outside. It is sunny. It was hot. July the 29th. It is Sunday. I hope you guys are ready to have a great show. We're going to get it in today. Shout out to my brother Tommy Sotomayor, Relationship Rehab, my sister Packer Girl, Shouty King, my sister Tanisha, Morning Soto. And shout out to Crystal Chan in the building, man. Shout out to Crystal Chan. What's up, princess? Thank you guys for coming through to the show. If you guys would, do me a favor when you come in. If you haven't already done so, please hit that thumbs up. It shows support for the show. So I need you guys to hit that thumbs up. What did he say? I need you guys to hit that thumbs up. So if you would, when you come into the show, show your boys some love to the show. I definitely appreciate that. It is a very free, very easy way to show support for what we do here. Also, if you guys want to share the show with somebody else that you know, maybe bring in some new people, that'd be awesome as well. So all you got to do is hit the share button. That costs you nothing. For the people that find it financially feasible, you guys know that we have PayPal links available, as well as Patreon and Venmo. So if you guys want to show love and a monetary support, and a monetary form of support, then you guys can hit those links as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cut it right there. We're gonna go ahead and give everybody a shout out in the chat, and then I'm gonna introduce you guys to a song, and I also have a new graphic up as well. So shout out to Rich Gang, shout out to LYL Entertainment and Shauna. Also, shout out to you guys out there in Wichita, Kansas, and everybody else. Let me know where you guys are from. We're gonna go ahead and give you guys a shout out, and then here we go. People were wondering what moonlighting is, and moonlighting actually is defined as having a second job in addition to one's regular employment. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound bad. That actually sounds pretty reasonable, right? Google Wallet, I think so. I don't know if I disabled it or not, but it should be under thesotoyoudig@gmail.com. If it's not, just let me know, and I'll try to figure that out. But I'm pretty sure I could set up a Google Wallet. So that one shouldn't be that hard because Google makes everything pretty easy. Let me see what I'm sure not the whole department. No, the entire okay, I'm gonna give you the story. Thank you for asking, Charlotte. I'm about to give you the story right now. So on the surface, moonlighting doesn't sound like a bad thing, having a second job. Well, but the problem with this is whenever you are working a job, that job that you are employed by expects for you to do that job, right? Everybody know that makes sense. Everybody know that having a job and working that job makes sense. But apparently there are some people in the world, especially the people that enforce laws, apparently don't realize that when you are employed by a company, employed by, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, that you should be caught at all times while you're clocked in doing that task. Everybody understands that, right? Well, apparently there are two police officers that don't understand that you can't be clocked into one job, leave that job, and turn around and go work a completely different job for a completely different company. Let's rewind. Let's say that again. Apparently there are two police officers and very high ranking in the North Carolina Police Department that believe that they could be clocked in for the police department job, leave that job while being on the clock, and go leave their job, leave the city, leave the county, and even in some cases, leave the state, and go make money from another company and be on the North Carolina Police Department's company time. Clocked into two jobs at the same time. That is 100% correct. So here's the story. So for everybody that doesn't understand moonlighting, that's actually more of the definitive version of why moonlighting is wrong when it comes to working. So yes, the entire police department is suspended. North Carolina Force is putting on administrative leave after the chief and lieutenant were arrested for moonlighting. So the first gentleman's name, and right there on the left-hand side, actually, let me get my picture back up here because I was able to differentiate who was who. Because you got two brothers on the screen, and I want to make sure that I get their names correct. So the one that's on the left is Southport Police Chief Gary Smith, who is age 46. And then the gentleman that was on the right, kind of the lighter-skinned gentleman, that is Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons, age 48. Okay? So that's where we are. So right there, that gentleman right there is the Southport police chief. The guy that actually hired him, his name was Chief Derry Dove, but now he is, I think he's the mayor now. So he's Mayor Jerry Dove, and that is the gentleman that actually hired him once he left his position. Okay? Now they were charged with conspiracy to obtain property by false pretenses, willful failure to discharge duties, and obstruction of justice. So now they have the FBI and the State Bureau of Investigation involved, and now they're beginning to look into the two officers on April the 4th after other officers tipped them off. How crazy is that? So no, the chief actually was one of the people, like it was two people that were actually leaving their job to go work another job. So that is the current police chief. Again, his name is Gary Smith, age 46. And then Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons, age 48, was also accused of the exact same thing. So yes, Simmons and Smith were said to have been driving overnight shifts for an unnamed local trucking company while on police shift. They were told on by other officers. So they often would travel out of town for their second job. So the entire police department was placed on administrative leave after the city's police chief and lieutenant were detained on Thursday for double dipping while on the clock. So whoever put double dipping, you did a great job. So Southport Police Chief Gary Smith, age 46, and 48-year-old Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons were charged with conspiracy to obtain property by false pretenses, willful failure to discharge duties, and obstruction of justice. This is going to be a good one, guys, because we're going to be able to take this. I would love to do more Anaya Day Garrett. Do me a favor, Treachy Day Tunes or whatever your name is. Reach out to Michael Garrett. Tell him I want to interview with him. I would love to have him on the show, but he hadn't been able to get back to me yet. But I'd love to have him on the show. So if I do another update, it's going to be about the actual sentencing. And then after that, it'll just be about if he wants to talk to me or not. So here we go. FBI and State Bureau of Investigation began to look into the two officers on April 4th after other officers tipped them off. District Attorney John David explained to CBS 17. Okay. Now, Smith and Simmons were said to have been driving overnight shifts for an unnamed local trucking company. They were also on shift at the department. They often had to travel out of town for their second job. So Smith was arrested early on Thursday morning and booked at Brunswick County Detention Center with a $10,000 bond, and he was released on bail. So he bonded out. So 10% of $10,000 is $1,000. Not that bad, but the actions of what they did was very, very egregious. Okay. Now, Simmons was taken into custody at a Thursday news conference, which is crazy, man. That's crazy. Okay. Now, search warrants were executed Thursday at the police department, town hall, and the trucking company. They quote this: "It is indeed that I get before you today with a." Oh, actually, I think this is the mayor speaking. It is indeed, and let me see if I have his picture up on the screen. That's the mayor right there, the gentleman that just went off the screen. It is indeed that I get before you today with a heart laden with grief for all these events that just happened today, Mayor Jerry Dove said. It was a shock to me to hear all of these, being a former chief and knowing the officers that worked in that department and hired at least half of them. So the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office was advised by the city board to assume all law responsibilities in the area at the meantime, Dove said. Now, so what that means is that since they are laying all of these people off with pay, they have to bring in a completely different police department to neglect their duties from where they were to have to pitch in here while this entire investigation is going on, which is absolutely asinine. So they say we will be relying on the sheriff's office substantially on the road ahead to step into the void and provide a police presence, David added. The sheriff's office already has overlapping jurisdiction with Southport, so it's not new that they will be patrolling the streets. They know the layout of the land, and I'm very confident that the citizens will be well protected, which is good to hear. But David made sure to call made sure not to call all the officers bad. A lot of these officers have done absolutely nothing. I got to repeat that. A lot of these officers have done absolutely nothing wrong. It's just that their leadership, the people that hired them and the people that are leading them, were the ones that were caught for moonlighting. Just 2 people. Okay? And that's of this very moment. So some of them are the ones that actually came forward, that actually told on them. This stage should not be extended to officers who take their duty to serve and protect seriously. Cases from the city of Southport are now under investigation too. So this is going to get very messy for them. The sheriff's office will assist in the cases if needed, but David did not feel like any of the cases were handled improperly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the actual news story and see if I can get that up on the screen along with my fair usage. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my take on this entire story because I have a couple things that I want to add to that. Matter of fact, where is my news story? I moved it somewhere. Hold on. There it is. I forget where I put stuff sometimes. Let me go ahead and get a fair usage so we can go ahead and get this thing started. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. While we got about 195 people watching, do me a favor, you guys, please hit the thumbs up. If you guys are not donating to the show, please at least hit the thumbs up. I don't think that's that much to really ask. Because like I say, if you're not going to contribute and support financially, I get it. That's completely up to you. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. But I think what is a requirement is if you're going to be here, at least hit the thumbs up. Like, I would really, really appreciate that. Let me give a shout out to a couple more people that pitched in. I got to give a shout out again to my guy Derek, who I think is in the chat. Give a shout out to Jimmy D. Give a shout out also to my guy Carlos. Thank you again, Carlos. Man, you've been doing that very consistently. So I appreciate that. Hey, Daddy, I'm going to go call you later. Love you too, Crystal. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Love your shows. I catch them when I can. Appreciate your work. Robin Potts, thank you very much. And also to DC Native. I don't know why I just knew DC Native was going to send something through. Just showing love and support always whenever I have a few dollars to spare. Keep up the good work, my brother. I'm DC Native in the chat. Much love to DC Native. Thank you very much, man. So you guys are doing that so consistently. All I can do is give you prayer hands and thank you guys so very much. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Let me get you guys some sound.
Both of these officials were double dipping on the clock at the police department while actually working for a trucking company. Now, Fran and John, this is the part I want to make crystal clear. Not only were these 2 men taken off of the streets of Southport with this side job, they were also taken out of the county, even out of the entire state, when they should have been right here. But instead, they were driving overnight shifts for an unnamed trucking company. Now, this is an investigation, John and Fran, that started back in April. The chief now has already bonded out the lieutenant, Michael Simmons. He is in custody. This afternoon, the district attorney said this was not a single stunt, but a habitual, repeated pattern. A tip inside the department about the lack of leadership started an FBI and SBI investigation that's commenced in April. Today, I talked to Mayor Dove. He and the chief worked together for 20 years. He was gripped, of course, with disappointment and became so overwhelmed with this news, the mayor pro tem had to step in.
Well, it's like I said, my heart is broken. Why don't you take over on that?
It's just a hard day for Southport. The mayor, certainly being the prior police chief for many years, and his whole career has been spent in law enforcement. We're just all devastated, so we're just kind of getting everything today and coming together as a group to try to make the best decision for the citizens to keep the community safe and keep their, just to reassure them that we're making the best decisions with the information we have. So it's tough for all of us.
Okay. Now, we actually have people in the chat. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to what you guys are posting in the chat, okay? because let me see. Great job, people. 190 watching, 184 thumbs up. That's actually dope. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for doing that. So we had somebody ask a question. I don't want you guys to ask good, logical questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. So somebody actually asked, how is this bad? So Reynard Person said, how is this bad? Well, I'll have to tell you, because what it is with Moonlighting, because maybe you might not didn't catch it because we have to actually show the show live, so there's not a way that you can rewind. So I'll just re-explain it for you. You are on the clock. So imagine this, like depending on what you guys do. So imagine if, let's just say, if you work at Walmart, you sign in and you're the cashier for Walmart, right? And you're supposed to be on the clock. You're supposed to be checking people out and all of that good stuff. So instead of doing that, you come into work, you go to the back room, you clock in. So you let the company know, hey, I'm ready to get paid. You are now on the clock. You are now being calculated and compensated for hours that you should be actually doing your job. So imagine if you leave that job and then you turn around and then you go help a moving company or go help somebody, you know, move boxes out of their house or something like that. All the while you're still on the clock for Walmart. So Moonlighting, the definition, you could read it and it'll say having two jobs. Having two jobs is not the bad part about it, but the bad part about it is when you have two jobs and you are clocked into both of those jobs at the exact same time. And there was actually somebody that said something earlier. Let me give a shout out to a guy named Motley Fool. And he said, if you are licensed in the investment industry, you can't moonlight without written permission from your firm. Okay, so I definitely appreciate you putting that information out there. And any of you guys that are more familiar with this, of course, you can always put your information out there and let us know what you think. So yes, it's the same thing as they're expecting you to be working and everybody, you know, so imagine if this is going on for like months and months and months and months. Yeah, delivering pizza and cable. That's another good point. Double dipping. Okay. So imagine this. Imagine if you double dipped on your girlfriend. What do you think that would mean? So imagine if you tell your girlfriend, I'm in a relationship with you, right? So we're going to break this down a little bit. I'm hoping my analogy is not flawed because I just thought about this. Just Jay has to explain why it's wrong. It's okay, Go Hard, because we got a lot of people listening, and maybe just hearing the term moonlighting, you would, because when you read the terminology, Go Hard, to be honest with you, moonlighting looked like it just says you have two jobs. It really does. When I first read it, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. But what they're talking about is working both jobs at the exact same time, because you can't. Police moonlight do security all the time. Yes, they do. I've heard of it. But Tuluvian, there are rules and regulations to that. Now, if I'll say this, Tuluvian, for the people that I know that do that are police officers actively employed by the police department, they wait until they get off of their shift. That job ends. Then they go to whatever business or whatever company is going to hire them to do security. Now they are offline for the police department. Now they are online for their next company. So we just have to make sure and differentiate the two. The girlfriend might be doing the waiting to exhale on the boyfriend stuff. Yep, Asia. What's up to Asia also? If it's not affecting their job, it should be okay. Actually, it is. Saw you on Tommy before, J. Joe. Cool. Yeah, I've been on plenty of Tommy shows. Me and Tommy have done shows here on the You Dig. I've done shows on Tommy's platform, call into his show. I've met Tommy in person, so I've been to been on his tour also. So not only have I met Tommy in person, we talk and all of that good stuff. So yes, I'm very well familiar with Tommy. So if you aren't very well familiar with me, get familiar with your boy DJ Just J, man. Right? It is theft. Thank you. Some people are crazy. It is theft. You're stealing. You're stealing the city's money. And also, so think about this. So if the police department relies on a hierarchy, right? If a person has a question, they're just like, well, you got to talk to the chief. You got to get permission before you do this or you do that. Because that's the way these police departments work. Like if there is something in question or if there is some type of direction that the police department needs to go, well, the police chief, that is his job to do that and say, hey, I'm going to tell you guys to do this. That is his job as a leader. So imagine if this person is not there, he is clocked in, taking the city's money, taking the people's money that the city gets from the people. He's taking the taxpayers' money, sticking it in his pocket, walking away from his job, then turn around and I'm going to go get some money over here. And not only did he do that, and not only did they, I should say, let me not say he, they. But they also would leave the city and they would also leave the whole state. They're not there nowhere close to be able to do their job. Everybody understand that? So imagine if you have a girlfriend and you're telling your girlfriend, we're in a relationship. I have a job that I need to do for this girlfriend, right? So instead of telling my girlfriend, damn, man, I got somebody else that's going to be giving me this over here. I'm not going to give, too many graphic details or nothing like that because I know we got a diverse audience watching, so I ain't going to say too much. But this girl is over here offering me some things that I want to take advantage of. So instead of telling my girlfriend, hey, babe, I'm about to go over here and go do this over here because these have these benefits over here for me that I want to take advantage of. What I do is I say, babe, I'm in the house. I'm chilling. I'm asleep. And she's like, all right, cool. That's what you usually are doing. So imagine me sneaking out the window, out the back window, and I go off and I go see this other chick over here. And I'm over here getting all these benefits over here. All the while, my house is not being watched, being taken care of. My relationship isn't either. I'm neglecting something. Because people have an expectation of me being somewhere doing a job and I ain't there to do it. Okay? That's the major thing about this. It's just flat out illegal. $10,000 bail sounds about right. Okay? I don't think the bail should be any higher. I don't think it should be any lower. I think it's about right. That's the first part. You can't do that shit. Now, I want to say this about that guy right there. That's the current mayor, and that's also the previous police chief. I found some information on him that I thought was pretty interesting. I don't even know how valid it is, just because I've seen a lot of stuff out there. But I'll tell you guys in a minute. We'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to that. The second part about this. Everybody knows that most police departments aren't paid what they should be paid. Most police officers aren't paid what they should be paid based on the level of importance of their job. Right? So one would have to think, if it's that bad that these gentlemen that are in high-ranking police officer positions felt the need to go do this because they're just like, look, I'm just simply not getting enough money. They're trying to earn their money, and they're trying to work for it. I get it. They just did it in a way that you can't legally do. You can't do it. So one would have to think, how badly do they need help? I know we've talked about teacher salaries before. I know teachers that actually have to work 2 and 3 jobs. Now remember this. We're talking about people that work a job, clock out of a job, and then clock into another job, clock out of the job, and then clock into another job. Not be clocked into all 3 jobs at the same time, collecting 3 checks all at one time. Not that. Moonlighting is not that. This moonlighting that they are accused of doing is accused of working 2 jobs at the same time, neglecting one job to go get money from another. Highly illegal. So one would have to ask, how much are they getting paid? Yes, my mom is a teacher. Matter of fact, a lot of my family are teachers. A lot of my friends are teachers. And I once was doing some substitute teaching. I've also done some counseling also. So I get it. But at the same time, that's why I believe that if the job is not paying you what you need, then I believe that you need to, if your focus is, I need to get money, I need to get my money on, then work a job that's going to allow you to get your money on. Can we all agree to that? If being the police chief or the police lieutenant is not paying you enough, then I believe, and they're going to have to learn this the hard way, is I believe that you should find another line of employment. Y'all get me? What's going on? What's going on, bro? Thank you very much for coming through to the show. That's my first time seeing your name. That's pretty cool. Work in an industry that's going to get you paid. So apparently policing ain't going to get you paid. But let me show you guys this video one more time because I wanted to point out something about the old police chief who was actually the current mayor. And he was getting actually choked up about talking about this. So let me just speed to that part real quick.
Was gripped, of course, with disappointment and became step in.
Right here. I wanted to show you guys this because I thought it was a little bit odd when I watched it, but I want to show you guys his reaction.
Well, it's like I said, my heart is broken. Why don't you take over on that?
Right there. That's the current mayor, and that was the old police chief. Right there.
Broken.
Jerry Dove. And he sounded like he was about to cry talking about this.
Well, it's like I said, my heart is broken.
He said his heart was broken. Because what I believe is that he developed over time a relationship with the gentleman, Southport Police Chief Gary Smith, age 46, the darker skinned guy. I believe that over the years he developed a very, very strong relationship with that man. Because once Jerry Dove left that position for whatever he left that position for, then the person that he helped get that job was the gentleman that's now in this trouble. So I would assume that not only does that reflect on him, but I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to see his quote unquote friend in this effed up position, right? I think he cares. I definitely do. But I think, I think everybody, and I don't mean to throw any salt on Mr. Dove or anything like that, but I will say this. I found, just Google searching him, there was a change.org petition started against, at the time, Chief Jerry Dove, who was the current police chief at that time. And they wanted to permanently relieve Officer Byron Vassey of any and all duties or titles within the police department. And they wanted to remove Chief Jerry Dove as the head. I don't know the nature of that or anything like that, but I will tell you guys this. You guys know that Tommy has been through this type of stuff, trying to get petitioned and get off the internet and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, anybody can start a damn petition. It definitely didn't get any momentum. So I don't know that it even has any relevance or not. But I'm just saying maybe there was something that happened that maybe they were trying to get him out for some reason. But nonetheless, I'm talking about the corruption. And I'm not saying that Jerry Dove was corrupt or anything like that, but one would have to wonder, which is why they're suspending the entire police department, what actually is the mentality of these people? Do you guys get the connection that I just made? What we're talking about is the mentality. We always are talking about the mentality here. We're advocates for children first, but one thing we always talk about is the mentality of our people, of our community. Why is the black community suffering so much? It's because of the mentality. So because I brought this up, I'm talking about, well, what was the mentality of Jerry Dove? What was the real mentality of him? Because you had somebody that started a petition against him. Maybe it's valid, maybe it's not. I don't know. But let's just say because this big old stink pops up about these two officers, Police Chief Gary Smith and Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons, pops up now. And look at what they're doing while being on the clock and just thought it was okay. And if it hadn't been for their peers snitching on them, nobody would have found out about this. Nobody would have been able to hold them accountable. It was some other people in there that said, wait a minute, man. Hey, this is not right. They're at the top of the food chain, and you're trying to tell on people that are at the top of the food chain, which usually, especially in the police department, that's frowned upon, could definitely get you in some trouble. But they had a very valid reason to open their mouths and say something. In turn, it has a cataclysmic, look that up, cataclysmic effect. Why? Because now they're starting to question the mentality and the decisions of everybody that was under their leadership. So this is why you have the entire North Carolina Police Department being suspended, being relieved of their duties, at least temporarily, while this investigation is going on, and having a completely different area of police department in North Carolina taking over for this area while they are investigating these people and what they're doing with their time. Are other people doing this? As well as they're even questioning the arrests that people have made and the convictions that they've gotten. Now, how deep is that? Because the people that you put at the top, when you are in a leadership position, you are there because you're trusted. Can y'all agree to that? Most people in most of these companies and most of these CEO positions and most of these chief positions and all of this stuff are in those positions more times than none because they're trusted. Not because they're the brightest, not because they're the smartest, not because they had the greatest test scores on their ACT or grade point average in college, or because they had 3 or 4, degrees or anything like that. They're usually put there because they're trusted. Whenever the president hires in his cabinet, they usually put people in there because they are trusted. Usually when you deal with people and have friends and relationships with people, you usually do it. Why? Usually when we engage in relationships, we usually engage in relationships because of the fact that you're looking at this person and I trust you. Trust is the number one thing. So if you can't trust the leader, then you have to question everybody else that is the quote unquote follower. So that's going to suck for their city. It's definitely going to suck for these two black men's families and all of that good stuff. And it's going to reflect bad on Jerry Dove, who put this man in that position. But it causes everybody to have to question anything and everything. You're going to now question the police. You guys know that the police are under a lot of fire for every little thing that they do. The last story I just did was about the police restraining a little 10-year-old boy that dove into them like he was Superman trying to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Go back and watch that video. And they were made to look like they just did just the most egregious thing to this little boy. But they are under fire for everything. So this type of thing does not help. What did somebody ask? They said, do you think that the chief knows something about the mayor and the rest of the corruption in the department? Bodacious J, you're asking me a direct question. Do I think he knows? I absolutely believe that he knows. The reason I say that is because more times than none, there's always some type of corruption going on in police departments. It happens. People, we're human, so you expect for humans to make human mistakes. They're going to be imperfect is what I'm basically saying. It's not to excuse the behavior. The behavior needs to be held accountable. Almost at the behavior. I'm about to make up a new word. The behavior needs to be held accountable. But at the same time, we have to expect that people are going to mess up. People are going to break the law. People are going to do things illegal. So what you try to do is you try to hold people as accountable as best as you possibly can. Do I think that he knows other things are going on? Absolutely. But now it makes you wonder if he's in collusion with a lot of these other things that's going on. Let me say that again for Bodacious J. With this situation, I think now that they believe that it could potentially be more in collusion with corruption because of this. It causes you to question everything. Hawkeye said, good cops do not exist. They never speak on the bad ones. Actually, Hawkeye, this story actually illustrates that they do. The current police chief and the lieutenant would not have been caught if not for other police officers that are beneath them, below them, and lower ranking to them actually reached out and told other people and got these guys, quote unquote, told. There's no way I can agree with the statement that says that there are no good police officers. I've met plenty of them, and I've met plenty of them that were not reputable people. But I don't expect them to all be reputable. Love you guys too. Thank you very much. I appreciate this and love you, Soto, you dig. I appreciate that. I just try to basically use my level of logic and truth and facts that I've learned over the years and try to employ it based on the stuff that I've always thought. The things that I speak on this show are things that I've always cared about, which is why a lot of time, I end up talking about children a lot. Because I care about children very deeply. Like, I actually just got back from Arkansas recently, had to deal with a very difficult situation, so shout out to my father and his brothers and sisters and my grandmother. You're not to be trying to put all my business out there, but I had to make a trip out there to go see her potentially for the last time. I was extremely tired. I think I did a total of 19 hours of driving just because I wanted to make sure that my father and my sister and my other family members didn't have to do any of the driving. I just got to be thankful that my body had enough energy for me to be able to make it all the way down and all the way back without any issue. And I didn't put our lives in danger by doing all that driving. But nonetheless, I talk about things that are very close to my heart. Yeah, exactly. So Little Rock 2517, tell them how far Dumas and McGee, Arkansas is. It's damn near by Mississippi. Matter of fact, I didn't even realize how far it was. I just know how to get there because I've been there before as a kid and over my teenage years. But I never realized it was that close to Mississippi. It's crazy. What's up, Yvonne Y in the building? So I wanted to actually do some shows because I didn't have to DJ. But like I said, I was unable to do it because I wasn't here and because, the family had to take precedence, right? So Bodacious J said, right, they were probably working together. Good cops exist and have it hard because of the bad ones. Exactly. So Smooth said, club owners been paying police under the table to post up outside. Facts. Okay. Actually, you know what? So Smith, I can't even deny that. I can't deny that. I can't deny that I've seen when police officers are on the clock in their cars and they sit outside and post up. Because some are being paid under the table to just sit out there and chill in case something pops off. I can't say that. Jay isn't scared of trolls. Have no reason to be. Jay isn't scared of trolls. See these? Have no reason to be. Dumas is about 225 miles from Mississippi. Yes, indeed. Yes, it is. So it was a good long trip. It was a good long trip. But like I said, and you know what's crazy? I didn't even sit and drink no bunch of Red Bulls or nothing like that. I just had enough energy. I just think that, I was focused more than anything. That's moonlighting, correct? It 100% is moonlighting. Based on what you just described, so smooth, yes, it is. What he described as moonlighting is when club owners paying police under the table to post up outside while the police are on duty is considered moonlighting. They can use whatever excuse that they want to, because you're talking to an ex-club promoter and somebody that actually used to help manage clubs and run situations and stuff like that. So I 100% understand. I know exactly what's going on. So yes, that would be considered moonlighting. Now, whether they'll get in trouble for it or not, it just depends. Just depends. Their accounts never match the videos. Let me see. Giving the fist to the trolls. You know, trolls don't show their face. Oh yeah, I know this. And the thing is for anybody that's, matter of fact, Chris Style, are you still in the chat? Is Chris Style still in the chat? I've met him and his buddy. There was another gentleman that I met from San Antonio. I was supposed to link up with my brother, Classy Young Man. Again, shout out to him. And Classy Young Man, if you're still listening to the show, brother, I 100% understand, brother. Take care of your family first. I 100% understand, because I had to make my family a priority, which is why I wasn't able to, to stream this past weekend. The city gonna make them pay it back? I think they should. I think there absolutely should be some level of reparation for them taking the city's money and they actually wasn't doing the city's job. Makes sense. I think the city has the right to sue these gentlemen for all the money that they stole, depending on how long they've been working for this unnamed trucking company. How long has that been going on? How long have they been clocking into other jobs and not working the job that they was clocked in to do? Who knows? It depends. Let me see. Yeah, it depends if you, the chief or lieutenant, just a officer on patrol. Just my thoughts. Actually, that's where I'll disagree with you at So Smith. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters at all. I think it matters from the perspective that whether you get caught or not could depend on how high you are in ranking, whether people want to tell on you or not. But as far as people doing it, as far as you getting in trouble for it or anything like that, like I say, humans need to hold humans accountable, regardless of whether they work for the government, whether they are citizens of the United States or not. We need to all hold each other accountable to just do the right thing. So whether people are willing to tell, I think that whether them being a chief or a lieutenant could make a difference. Like, damn, man, that's the chief. Like, damn, man, that's the lieutenant. I don't know if I want to tell. I think that can sway people emotionally. Hashtag Guiltless said, Just Jay does great content and will grow for sure. I would hope so. I hope so. So I'm gonna just keep trying, man, and continue to keep trying to bring you stories that I think matters. Again, shout out to my brother Tommy. I think he'll end up going live here in a little while. So I'm definitely gonna try to find myself something to eat. What I cooked a couple days ago, I already ate that as my meal for the day. So I got to get out and find me something else to eat, right? So again, man, I'd like to thank you guys for coming to the show. Was there any other thing about this story that I might have missed that you guys wanted me to kind of give you my perspective on, or something you wanted me to answer? Let me see. Yeah, Jay, meet up with us and we have a great matter of fact, I wish I could have met up with that person from that said that they were from Little Rock. So Little Rock, if you're still in the building, we might end up having to go back out there. So just do me a favor, stay close to this channel. So the next time, because we drove through Little Rock. So anytime, I can tell you the states that I'm commonly going to be in. I'm about to start going to Kansas. I'm always in Oklahoma. I'll go anywhere in Texas. It doesn't matter where it is. Maybe not El Paso. I might not go to El Paso because that's just too goddamn far. Any of the surrounding states, I will always go back to Missouri because that's where I did some of my counseling at. There's a lot of states that I'll just up and just go to. I live in Virginia. Oh, okay. I got you. Got you. In and out of Oklahoma all the time. All the time. You guys are more than welcome for the show. Taco Cabana. Taco Cabana used to be good, man, but I haven't ran into any good Taco Cabanas in a long time. It's been a while. Let me see. Do you think any of the other police officers would get hired back? Come to Ohio. I found out how far Ohio is, and I actually have some family that that actually came down to Arkansas to meet with us to see my grandmother. Let me see. I know they go to Chicago a lot, so maybe they might have some helpful information as far as if I decide to take a trip out there. I wouldn't mind. The Hogs, yes, absolutely. And I hope they do good, man. I hope their football team does good this year. As long as they don't beat my OU Sooners, it's all good, right? NYC, I don't know. I don't know, man, because they are not too fond of us carrying our guns around in New York. And I like carrying my gun. I think everybody should be able to carry just their gun around, man. I just think it would just make the world a better place. Let me see. Jay, next time, let's boil crawfish instead of buying them. Yeah. Wilfred Jones, I swear to you, I would much, much rather do that. Now, I'm not good at doing them, but I have a friend that I was talking to yesterday on my way home, and she was telling me that she's going to be able to link me up with her friend, and he's going to show me how to actually make it, like a good way to make it, and then from there, maybe I can experiment with some recipes. But I want to make them live. I usually make mine frozen, and I haven't done real well with that. But I am a big crawfish fan. So if you guys, want to invite me to some big, huge crawfish boils, especially my people in Louisiana, just throwing it out there. If y'all want to know what my favorite food is, it is now officially crawfish, right? So again, man, shout out to you guys for coming through to the show. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. And again, I'll have to say to these gentlemen, Southport Police Chief, or about to be ex-police chief, Gary Smith, age 46, and Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons, age 48. To my brothers, I will say this, even though y'all might be older than me, you might have seen more things than me, but I will say this. Coming from a young man, brothers, it is a lot of opportunity in the world to do things and make a ton of money doing it. Sometimes it takes you to start off slowly, and you can grow your way into something positive, and it can make you a lot of money. But if you're looking for the money, go to the jobs that got a lot of money. Most people don't want to be trash men, but it makes a hell of a lot of money. There's a lot. Matter of fact, there's so much stuff that can make you a lot of money. And matter of fact, I don't even think that this particular stain on these guys, after this is all said and done, will prevent them from being able to get a job that'll pay a lot of money. So just think about that, and I definitely hope that these guys figure it out. I hope that there's not a hell of a lot more to this story. I just hope that they were just literally just trying to just work a couple jobs and just take care of their family. I hope there's not more corruption going on than just this, because if it is, that'll definitely be a very, very bad thing, right? So we're going to go ahead and wrap the show right there.